Well, good morning from Idaho. Alpine guy here. And this morning we're going to just take a little look-see at the Lippert hydraulic levelers. And these levelers are on their 9th year. And if you look at these cylinders, you'll see they're nice and clean, and they're all that way. And we're going to look up top and look at the lines on this one. And you notice that you see a red extend, or not red, you see an orange extend line, but then you see a different colored line with a blue stripe. And that's one of the hydraulic lines that I replaced last year due to age. The lines are 8 years old then. And I had it made at Napa, and the wife and I installed it. It took about, 15 or 20 minutes to put the new line in. And bleed the landing gear a few times, and it's been good. But this is the mid passenger side or driver's side leveler, and as you can see, everything looks great. And now we're at the driver's side rear leveler, and you can see that that piston looks nice and clean and shiny. 9 years old. And we'll look up here at these lines, and you can see these are still the original lines on here. The orange extend line and the black return line, and everything looks good there. And now we're at the passenger side right rear leveler leg, and you can see the piston looks nice and clean. And we'll take a look up here at these lines, and these are the original lines on this as well. And you can see that they look good. There's no leaks, there's no swelling, and no bulging. Those are things you want to look for at those connections, the QD connections. You want to see if there's any evidence of leaking or bulging right where the swedge meets the hose material itself. And so that looks good, and we'll move on up to the mid leveler on the passenger side. Okay, we're on the mid leveler for the passenger side, and you can see that cylinder is nice and clean. There's no leaks that we can see. And we'll take a look up at this one. And if you notice on this, and I didn't show it to you on the other mid leveler, but you see a set of lines coming in and a set of lines going out. Well, this is the orange is your extend pressure hose, and the black is your return. And then the orange extend and black return hoses here run all the way back to the left, or to the passenger side rear leveler leg. So these two legs are connected in what you probably heard me refer to as tandem. And so they both move together. And if something goes wrong with one leg, if a hose breaks on one of the legs, it's going to affect the other. If one of the levelers leaks internally, it's going to affect the other leveler that's in tandem with it. So something to remember: if one of them has a problem, the other is going to have a problem on the same side. And we'll stop and take a look-see here on the passenger right front landing gear. And you notice there are two sets of hoses, and on the front landing gear they are connected in tandem, and you have an orange extend and return, and then the other orange extend and return run over to the driver's side. Also on the passenger side front landing gear, you will notice up at the front a funny looking thing, and that funny looking thing is called a high deck valve. And so this valve is mechanically closed by spring pressure to prevent hydraulic fluid from flowing, and then it's electrically opened by 12 volts DC and opens up this high deck valve to let fluid flow, and that's what allows the landing gear to move up and down. And we'll take a look-see down at the base of this landing gear, and as you can see, there are no issues with this one. I'm saving the passenger front landing gear for last, because that landing gear over the last 8 years has a slow, annoying seep, and I'll show it to you here. And got the shadow of myself here. So let's see if I can get the shadow out to where you can see just a little better. And you'll see a little bit of debris on the cylinder. And if you look real close, I'll see if I can get under here without hitting my head. And right here, you can see a drop of AW32 fluid. And you can see a little bit of crap down on this piston. This landing gear has done this since about the 5th day after I bought it back in 2014. And some would say, well, why haven't you done anything with it? Well, I'm a firm believer in maintaining things, but I also know that with hydraulics, you can have a slow, what I call a slow seep. And being an old aircraft mechanic, some slow seeps are allowable. So I see no reason why that wouldn't apply to a stupid little old landing gear on an Alpine fifth wheel. And so what I do is I come out here, probably about once every 3 months, I'll do this. If we're at home and I see that I've gotten a little bit of crap on the cylinder, I'll wipe it down. And as you can see, I've wiped these bolts down now, and you can see there's no returning fluid, and it is under pressure because the system, the landing gear is up. Well, I said the landing gear is up, but what the old man meant to say is the landing gear is down, supporting the weight of the fifth wheel, and so it's under 2,000 psi pressure. And if you look way up under here, you can just barely see the wiper seal. And a lot of people think that wiper seal is what keeps the hydraulic cylinder from leaking, and that is absolutely false. All that does is just what I said. It's a wiper seal, and its function is, had I retracted this landing gear with all this crap on it, that wiper seal theoretically will catch all of that and just shove it down here to the bottom end of the strut and keep it from going up inside where the actual seals are at that maintain the hydraulic pressure. Give you one more view. This is looking from the bottom of the strut, and we'll zoom up towards the top where you can see the hydraulic lines, and you can see the fittings pretty good now. And there's really no evidence of any leak. You can see the two elbows there, and that's the fittings that come out of the cylinder itself, and you can see the orange and black extend lines. And there's no fluid really there. And if you look around at the top cap up on the top, if I reach way up in there, which I can't really do because I'm laying on my back, but if you reach way up here, there's a top cover cap, and it's held on with 3 bolts. And I have snugged those 3 bolts down a little bit, a time or two, and didn't really seem to affect anything. And so what I'm trying to say here is these are the things that you need to be looking at on your Alpine on a daily basis if you're out on the road. And the most important thing you can do to increase the longevity of these leveling struts and landing gear struts is, before you retract these leveling struts, take 2 minutes and walk around with a paper towel and wipe them down. Wipe them down just like that. And that way, when you retract all of these, you're not sucking up a bunch of sand from the beach. If you were camping near a beach, you're not sucking up a bunch of dirt and gravel. if you're camped out in the woods or something, or dust and stuff from a normal RV park. So that's things that you should look at. And am I going to replace this front landing gear? Well, it's been 9 years, and I'm not going to replace it yet. Maybe one of these days I will, and I actually won't replace it. If it does become a bigger issue, I'll pull that landing gear off and rebuild it myself, and I can probably rebuild it for about 25 bucks rather than pay $200, $300, $400. And one last look-see up here, we'll take a look at the hydraulic fluid. You can see that with the slides in, we're about half full. You see I have a line up here that says full, and if I had all the landing gear up, I would expect to see this fluid all the way up to here. With the landing gear down, this is where my fluid will be, and when I extend the slides, they'll drop down to about where my finger's pointing here. You also want to take a look-see up on the manifold, and you'll see a bunch of lines running in there, and this happens to be the extend manifold. You see all the orange lines coming there, and there's 3 valves up on top. Those are Hydac valves. And if you look on the other side, you'll see another manifold, and you can see all of the black lines. I'll zoom in just a little bit. You can see all the black lines. So on that manifold, that's your return line. And if you look up front, or not up front, up top, you'll see a gold and a blue thingy. And that thingy that you see up there is a pressure cutoff switch. And what that pressure cutoff switch does is if you hold the extend or retract button out, after everything has stopped moving, the pump is going to keep running and the pressure is going to build. And once it builds to that cutoff switch's pre-designed pressure, then it's going to simply shut the pump down so that you don't blow all the lines out and blow all the cylinders apart. So it's a fail-safe device. Well, that's a quick rundown on things to look at. I've showed you what a small seep looks like on a front landing gear. And again, I'm not concerned about it whatsoever. It's been doing that for 9 years. And we've got a trip coming up here back to Yellowstone in about a month, and for about 14 days. And I'm not going to do anything with that, no need to. And we'll just keep an eye on it as I have been for the last 9 years. That's all on the leveling system and how to keep it clean. Remember, wipe these pistons down. I use a little bit of transmission fluid or motorcycle fork oil, and I carry that up in the front cargo bay, so I've got it right there. And I pour a little bit on a paper towel, and I walk around and wipe each one of these down before I retract all the leveling system. And it will keep your hydraulics a lot happier and keep money in your pocket.